Well, welcome to another episode of Let the Truth Be Told. My name is Sean Williams, and I thank the Lord for being in the studio once again. We have a great show planned for you guys today.
Woo!
And I am glad for my brother Hub.
Yes, sir.
Dwayne.
Burnett. Yes, sir.
Being in the studio with us. We got we got some guests in here today in Channel 3, and I thank the Lord for them being in here. I thank the Lord for you, Ethan and Andrew, being in the studio to be able to be behind the technical side of this. I thank the Lord for all you listeners, Facebook listeners, all you guys out there in television land that tune into us every single Sunday evening. I really appreciate it. And so we're going to get into just some house cleaning. Brother Hub, you introduce yourself to the viewing audience.
I'm Herbert Burnett, and I'm really excited to be here, and we're going to get more into it. But we got some guests because we got a star, guy who's put in a lot of work in community, and they rewarded him, as he would say, gave him some of his flowers while he was living. Yeah. And on the weekend, the festivities, Martin Luther King, he received an award, and just an awesome weekend, and I'm just proud to call him my friend.
Man, I
and so shout out to WCIA, who's in the building as our guest and doing what they do, and I'll stop there.
Well, I sure appreciate it. I thank the Lord for just being able to be honored.
Yes.
It is always a great to be able to, like you said, get your flowers while you're living, and for folks to give you that attaboy, to give you that charge, to say keep on going, keep on doing the great work.
Sir.
So I thank the Lord for this community allowing me an opportunity to serve. Let's want to do some house cleaning before we get started. Big shots out and the prayers go out to the family of Marie Wilkerson in her passing on this past couple weeks. And so they have services planned on tomorrow for services. So Rochella's mom, Raynice's mom, all of that family and those grandchildren and that she's left behind. So I thank the Lord for that family. Big shouts out to Reverend Shelby and the Martin Luther King celebration that he did at the Cranard once again.
Yes, sir.
Good job. Tip my hat out to you. Big shouts out to Vasilia Clark and her team. I mean, what an awesome Martin Luther King celebration you guys put together over here at Urbana, teaming up with Champaign,
and the
teaming up with the county
Rantoul,
and all the other partners that played a role into that, that made that such a great
Don't leave Rantoul out. That's my future home.
Well, I met the mayor and I met the police chief over there in Rantoul, and they sat at the table with us, and they just a great group of people. And man, what a time when we all put it all together, man, and we put all our great people together. And so what an awesome community that we have with a bunch of awesome people. And so I thank the Lord for it. I thank the Lord for all the prayers that have went out for the Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church. Unfortunately, they had a fire that happened on this past week, and so it happened early in the morning, wee hours of the morning, and I was looking at a Facebook Live on Wednesday's vigil that they had at Salem. And the fire chief of Champaign was able to explain to the congregation what exactly happened to knock all rumors out of there. To knock all the rumors out of there and let them know that it was just a fire, something that could not be stopped. It was something, just some random act that just happened through maybe something burning up within the church and wiring.
Started in the attic, I know that.
Some wiring or something like that. So we already know how God's going to work that out. They're going to have an awesome sanctuary in the future with a brand new, awesome, fresh start. I call it a fresh start. Sometimes we had to go down to come up.
Yes, sir.
And so
as a basketball coach, when the jump ball, usually the guy who wins the jump is the guy who goes down the farthest and get that power up. The guy that just jumps, he don't usually get as high. Sometimes you got to go way down
to get weighed up.
To get weighed up. So I thank the Lord for it, man. I've been so inspired, Hub. I just been real inspired. First getting the call that I was even going to be able to be one of the award recipients. Along with me, I was also told that Alicia Young, she was getting a prestigious award on that day, along with First Followers. Marlon Mitchell's program. Yes, sir, Marlon Mitchell.
And it's just a great program that I was excited to be a part of. And then after getting that acknowledgement and being able to actually see that event, be a part of that event, and finding out Father Flager was going to be the keynote speaker.
I already knew we was in store for some heat.
Wow.
Because I've been watching Father Pfleger for quite a while with the work he's done nationally, but the work that he's done in the inner cities of Chicago. And I've always said, man, I love to meet Father Pfleger. You know, just a great man with a great compassion for his community and always willing to just give his all for his community and the folks that's, you know, on the bottom, you know, for the downtrodden. Me and Pastor DeVita would say the downtrodden, the less fortunate, the folks that didn't wrote off, you know, and kicked to the curb, you know, the folks that haven't had the success in life. And so he's had a passion for dealing with those folks, being able to give them some hope, some inspiration. And I thank the Lord for folks like Father Pfleger. And so he's done a great job in the inner city of Chicago. And I've always told my folks, I said, man, I love to meet Father Pfleger. But, man, I thank God worked in amazing ways. Instead of me having to go to Chicago to meet Father Pfleger, God bless Father Pfleger came down here to meet Sean Williams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On his watch.
On his watch. Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
so, and I was able to sit right there, right next to Father Pfleger, talk to him, chop it up with him. Hopefully we can do some things together in the future.
Yeah, we definitely need to get there. We need to go there. We need to go to his watch.
Yeah, so we're going to do some things in the future with Father Pfleger, and I know that we're going to be able to do some awesome things in the future with Father Pfleger. And so speaking with this team, and so, but I want you to do is let's give a backdrop. Okay. And let's go a reverse.
Okay.
Because I know the topic, we always start this program out with the topic of what the topic's going to be. And so our topic today is called Midnight Hour. It's Midnight Hour.
And that was taken directly from Father Pfleger's topic.
It was taken directly from his speech. He did a dynamic job in being the keynote speaker. Big shouts out to Jennifer Roscoe from Channel 3. I got to give Jennifer Roscoe her kudos. She brought a level of excitement.
Spirit of excellence.
Oh, man, she brought a level of excitement. You know, normally when you get folks that's kind of you feel might be up here, and especially when you see folk on television like we be on television, and you don't think that they, you know, can be normal. Exactly, be normal. That's the word. Be normal. Right down there with the regular folk. And I mean, she lit the room up, and I think she was significant in being a game changer and how that whole dynamic's
the atmosphere.
She
shifted the atmosphere.
She rocked that atmosphere.
She did.
And so I felt really warm when I went up and accepted my awards from Jennifer. Big shouts out to you. Keep up the good work. Keep that same spirit, because that's the spirit of love that we need in this community, and we need to blanket this whole community with, is that same spirit, Jennifer. So great job. But given the backdrop and just the climate that we are in America right now, Brother Hub, on yesterday, we had a shooting here in Champaign. Shots fired. Day before yesterday,
home invasion.
We had a home invasion murder. Okay, that happened. Day before that, we had a shooting at the one of the Red Fox
Market
liquor store,
across from the mall,
right across from the mall, public facility, somewhere I stop into every now and then. Keep it at 100. I go in there and see them folks every now and then. You know, it could have been me. But thank the Lord for grace and mercy and knowing where to be at the right time, and God having you in the right places at the right time, that I wasn't caught in a crossfire with that type of stuff, or any of my friends or family. Because a lot of times we write other folks off and don't think that it could be us. But we're in this community where all this violence is happening. And so we're going to get into it, trying to talk about it. But give me a backdrop and give me something that you got out of what's going on with the climate that we're in right now within this nation.
I would say Father Pfleger's message is one of the most 5 powerful message I've heard in my 54 years on this earth. And 20 of my years were spent in the United States Army. And you know, them generals and colonels, they can talk real good and have some powerful motivating message. But his message was so timely. A lot of preachers get up and they talk about Paul and Silas and the Philippian jail and the Hebrew boys, and they tell a good story.
Right.
But a lot of oftentimes they don't relate it to what's happening now.
Right.
Help this 19-year-old cat that's getting high and might be hustling a little bit. How is that message going to relate to him?
Right.
Bring it down, like you were talking about Jennifer. Bring it down to where the common people can understand it and relate it to their life.
Right.
And Father Flager hit the clergy.
Right.
He hit law enforcement.
Right.
He hit federal government.
Well, we're going to bullet point it down.
Yeah.
Because I got it step by step.
So I ain't going to take too long because we need to get to meat. But just a powerful message that needs to be heard. I'm a military guy. I send it all over the country.
Yeah.
Guys that I know have my type of passion in El Paso, Texas, in San Antonio, D.C. Hey, man, check this out. Just a powerful message, and it's applicable.
You know, Brother Hub, and we talk about what's happening here in Champaign.
Yeah.
But just on the national scene of thing, or the worldwide global scene of things, I mean, you see the stuff that's going on in Venezuela.
Yes, sir.
You know, where they're rebelling against the country's leaders.
Yes, sir.
And the world's divided on who they want to side with.
Yes, sir.
We're with the new younger guy in the United States and maybe some of our allies. And here it is, China and Russia. They with the old time regime, and they want to keep things the way it's been.
Yes,
you know, and then when you look at something and you bring it back home, you bring something nationally, you know, where a guy, and I think it was like Iowa or something, you know, it might have been Iowa, it might have been California, where the guy could just walk into a bank and make everybody lay down and then shoot everybody and kill everybody and then get on the phone and call 911 and say, I just killed 5 people with no remorse.
No remorse.
With no remorse.
That's a spirit. That's a spirit.
You know, when we sit and we have a national president that says, you know, hey, look, man, I'm going to shut the government down. I don't care about you guys eating. I need a wall. When when experts have already done did the research and found out that a wall won't stop people from going under or going over. It won't stop drugs from coming. It won't stop terrorists from coming.
Yes.
So spending that money on the wall is something personal. It's not something that the country needs right now. You know, the amount of racism that's been elevated within this country. You know, me and you could probably ride down the street right now, and if we look the wrong way at somebody that might be a different color than us, we might get a bad reaction.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Or vice versa. Or I'm not just gonna say on the other side.
Right.
I mean, even some of us became racial.
Yeah.
Because he's elevated the race tensions during a Martin Luther King weekend. He tell government people and some of his constituents and some of his people at that other level that we talked about, Jennifer wasn't on, at that other level, we talked about, you know, where they set up and they said, hey, look, I don't understand why you guys can't just go get loans. Why you got, and then Trump said that, oh, don't worry about it, get loans and go to your local grocery store and they should give you food. What type of world they live in?
You know, so we can move on. I'm going to sum it up in 2 words, in time. Because this message is powerful. And
you know, what Father Flager said is the midnight hour.
It's the midnight hour.
We're in the midnight hour. We're in a crisis mode. You know, we're just in the midnight hour. You know, and it's so much going on. You know, he talked about Dr. King's message and what Dr. King's substance was. What was the substance of Dr. King? You know, equality, you know, justice for all, humanity, all of those different things. And, you know, those are the things that govern me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you know,
sir.
It ain't really just about one race to me.
Yes, sir.
When we joined the military, it taught us something different. It taught us diversity.
Yeah.
It taught us diversity. It taught us don't leave not one man behind. I don't care if it was somebody, one of our allies and our brothers from Puerto Rico. He was one of us.
Yes, sir.
If it was an Asian with Asian background, but he was one of us. If it was a Caucasian, my buddy Ott from South Dakota, he was one of us. Not to leave anybody behind. That Dr. King spirit was in those platoons, was in those ranks. And that's what we take with us. That's why people in government and people that's in military can't understand why are we taking 150 steps back. Because they have overcame that. And so, and they've been pressed to overcome it. over the time period. And so we can't understand what's going on. But being out here in the world, fighting this, we see it. We see what's going on.
You brought up a point. I had a soldier, and he didn't belong to he wasn't under my auspices, but he was in my unit. He was one of my friend soldiers. And I questioned him about his flag that he had, rebel flag that he had on the back of his pickup truck. I think he was from South Carolina. He's a redneck, Chew, and he let you know, and he didn't really have that much to say. He was the kind of guy that I thought could do a bombing or something. He was that kind of guy. He didn't have that much to say, but he did his job.
Right.
And the boy could shoot.
Right.
And so when we went over to Iraq, I said, look here, homie, it's me and you now. Leave that rebel flag, so we got to get this done. Yes, Sergeant.
Yeah.
And everywhere I want, Sergeant Burnett, if you need me to be your gunner, I'm there.
Yeah.
And you know I'll shoot a fly in the eye.
Yeah.
And man, we had a thing, I ministered to him one night, it was just me and him. And I told him about God and the love of God had no color, man. Let me tell you something. The man went and had, I'd rather be judged by 12 and carried by 6, tattooed it on himself. He went and had it tattooed on himself because that's how I used to end my prayer. Lord, you know, we over here, and last but not least, we'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And so he believed in that so much. He believed in that vision. He had it tatted. And so when you talk about diversity, and man, it takes all hands on deck, man. In order for us to change this, we got to work together. And that's what Father Pfleger was getting at.
Father Pfleger talked about how, and I've seen this, and we've said it for years. I mean, for like a Martin Luther King, you go to any Martin Luther King street in America, and it's probably one of the worst streets in the city. Wherever city we went to, whatever city you might travel to, you go to Martin Luther King Boulevard, Martin Luther King Broadway, whatever it is, it's the worst in the city. And then we'll talk about a Martin Luther King celebration that we'll bring out every January. We'll dust his book off, come on back, we'll talk about his family, his sacrifice, and then we'll put it away. Until next January.
Sean, I'm going to say this. The city of Vasilia Clark, I think she was responsible for bringing him there. And I went to every event pretty much that they had that weekend, and it was very, very poor attendance. But just the fact that Vasilia and her staff, whoever else was involved in that, I'm saluting you, but I know I met her, and I know she had something to do with it. Just the fact that they brought, my student corrected me last night, I said brung, he said no such word. Miller Calhoun, that was for you. Just the fact that they brought Father Pfleger here, knowing what's inside of him, gave me hope that it's something. I'm not the only one, or we're not the only one here that won't change.
Oh yeah.
Because he lit everybody up in the room. It was enough blame for everybody in the room to get some. So just the fact that they brought him here, gave me hope, Sean. Gave me hope.
Brother Hub, being in a community in a world of just chaos versus community. When we talk about restructuring, rebuilding community, it's hard to build a community back when it's been torn like our community's been torn.
Yes.
It's so much that has happened, through these communities. We've been rooted with violence, economic challenges, whether it's dealing with jobs and employment or housing, so many different challenges. I mean, and then let's target here. What Father Pfleger, he started it out basing in the beginning of his conversation was talking about the faith-based initiatives. That was one of the first things that he started kicking out when he started hitting churches. He talked about the synagogues, the mosques, the Catholic churches, and all of these other different religions that's out there. But he talked about faith-based community. And I happened to watch I watched something. My brother shot me something last night on Facebook where a brother was talking about faith-based initiatives. And he said that was one of the major things that George Bush implemented because each president implemented something that affected the African-American community. And this thing that faith-based initiative affected the black community because now it was the government being able to get some funding toward churches. And so that brought me back. When he said that, light bulb went off in my head, and I thought about John Lee. And John Lee say, Sean, if a man somewhat pay you, he's somewhat on you. So now you done got paid in the back room. Now can you openly speak up? And then I thought about this. Out of all this stuff that happened to the African American folks in 2016, 17, 18, now going on 19, we can even roll it back even further. Where have we seen any ministers stepping out on faith and saying, or just being able to step out on frustration or being able to step out because it's just right, truth and justice, to say, man, don't do my people like that. We need to do this, or rally folks together and say, this is what needs to be happening with African-American people. But we don't see that nowhere.
But one comment, I want to drive this point home. One word that went across, whether it was Catholic, Jewish, he talked about the mosque, and Christians. The point one of the key points he drove home is when he talked about sacrifice. See, he said when you get to heaven and show God your hands and you ain't got no wounds, God gonna say, was that worth nothing? See, we don't want to sacrifice. We don't want to rub nobody the wrong way. You talked about faith-based initiative. I don't want to make everybody mad, but I'm going to let the truth be told. But right in this town, we got organizations that handpick certain people because those people have influence in the community. And if I get them on my team, then surely they won't speak against me. You see what I'm saying? Right here. And it's strategic. I'm a military guy. Even on this weekend, I went to every event because I wanted to observe who was going to really immediately take Father Pfleger's message to heart. You know, and was these same people that heard the sermon was going to be in some of these other places. The attendance was horrible. I told one pastor, and they spouse, yeah, but it was cold out there. I said last year at Crenna, it was just as cold and snowing because I had to hold my wife's hand all the way up the stairs. You see what I'm saying? And so he talked a lot about sacrifice. In order for us to turn this city around, this state, this nation, people gonna have to sacrifice. And you're gonna have to go against the grain and make people uncomfortable. Sean, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you ride. It was a lot of people in that room that was important, and he made them uncomfortable with the truth. There's a lot of uncomfortable people. I mean, he hit me. He hit me in some things that I need to step my game up. I don't think anybody who listened attentively and with an open heart and an open mind didn't get uncomfortable about something that's going on in their lives, because he covered every base, Sean.
You know,
sacrifice.
You know, Brother Hub, and you know, I had a lot of stuff wrote down. And Lord ain't even taking me that direction.
Yeah, that's throwing you off.
It's throwing me. It's throwing me straight off.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It's throwing me straight off.
Yeah, come on with it. Come on with it.
Come a different direction, man,
come on.
This called Let the Truth Be Told.
Yeah, come on with it.
hey, don't throw it, but I'm finna go without it. Hey, look, man,
come on.
When you talked about horrible, man, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous of the amount of people that, man.
Yeah.
So this what affects me, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny gets killed.
Yeah.
400 people at Johnny's funeral.
Yes, sir.
Everybody saying, oh, man,
Yes,
Johnny
sir.
died,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Stop the pump your
Yes,
brakes,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
The police ain't
Yes,
know
sir.
nothing. The school
Yes,
district
sir.
ain't know nothing.
Yeah.
Man, this community ain't know nothing.
Yeah.
Then we have a community meeting.
Yeah.
Or we have a community celebration.
Yes, sir.
For a legend like
Yes, sir.
Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too cold outside.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think it was cold the other night when Johnny was shooting at Johnny?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was cold the other night. They don't care.
Yeah.
While you sitting in your house, man, my young lady Erica Cox was walking to the store minding her own business. Shot in the neck, minding her own business. So if you don't think that you immune from all this crime and corruption that's going on, and we don't need your attention, come on, man. It hurts me to my heart when I go into these facilities and I see more white folk than I see black folk. When I see what Julia's saying, you know, Sean, I'm working hard over here, you know, and a lot of folks want me to, you know, prosecute, which is my job is prosecution. But man, I got to do the prosecuting. I got to go over here and console the family that I'm prosecuting and the mama or the grandmama, because that's mostly in the room, if anybody in the room. Then I got to go across the room on the other side with the guy that that got murdered and that side of the family and love on them. Where are our folks at, man? You say we need all hands on deck.
Need all hands
that means there's some room for you.
Can I share something with you? And I had just got off the phone. Just indulge me for a minute. So I got a phone call from one of my cousins who's a barber and is a referee. And so the conversation started, hey, man, I saw your kids on Facebook marching, man. I just wanted to tell you, great job. I said, okay, well, you know, you done saw that before. That's what I'm thinking to myself. So I know it's something else in this conversation. And so then he goes, and I saw a light-skinned, tall guy. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Yeah, I said, yeah, he on the basketball team. Yeah. I refereed him. This him talking now. I refereed him in Muhammad a few weeks ago. Okay. I had to give him a technical foul. And the reason I gave him a technical foul because he was cussing out his own player. Good to know. Okay, and so we talk a little bit more. And so then I turned the conversation on him. I said, Clint, I appreciate you giving me a call because this is the village. And what I'm going to do with this information is I'm going to go back to the kid and I'm going to tell him, what are you doing getting a technical foul in Muhammad? He go, Coach, you wasn't there? No, I wasn't there. But the village was there. And then I'm going to let him know, look, man, we got people watching you everywhere. But I always try to leave on a positive note when I'm talking to them. Now, fortunately, LDA, the D stands for development. So we're trying to develop you into leadership. You're only 8th grade. And so I don't condone that kind of behavior. But we developing. And part of developing, you got to be patient. And so the village, we need the village. Some people need to know, Sean, some people really don't think that, you know, people care about them. Shout out to Marlon Mitchell. I mean, I haven't really been dealing with, what's it called?
First followers.
I haven't been dealing with first followers. I'm not going to lie in front. But a couple of days ago, some guys called me. And they said, man, we need your help, man. We want something different out of life. I just got out of prison 3 months ago, and I don't want to go back. Man, meet me tomorrow at Caribbean Grill, right? We met, called Marlon. Marlon's staff met me here and took the kid. Man, that's
just now.
Just now.
Yeah.
Set the kid in the mayor's chair, let him take a picture of me. Do you know how it make him feel?
Oh,
I said, nah, I'm sending it to you because I don't know if you want your cool boy. No, put it on Facebook. Empower him.
Yeah,
and then when you came over and talked to him and said, keep up the good work, he grew a foot. All hands on deck. Now, we handed him off to Miss Bond. Her and Marlon them finna hook him up.
Yeah.
Everybody has a role to play. If we gonna change this city, we need all hands on deck.
But what about the folks that say, well, you know, I mean, I don't have the time, or it ain't my kid, or my kids ain't in trouble. We got them folk out there that'll say, well, it ain't my business. I mean, you know, it ain't my kid. You know, my kid's doing pretty good.
Yeah, but when it becomes your kid, you gonna want all hands on deck.
I done seen where the bad kid killed a good kid. because they hating because the good kid good. And that's what's happening in some of the schools. Is the bad kid starting to hate on the good kid. Or you can do the opposite, and what Urbana was trying to do, and empower or bless or give a gift to the bad kid for being good, which made the good kid feel like, man, if they gonna get gifts for being bad, let me be bad. You know, so it's they stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so, man, but you know, when you talk about community, you know, you got guys like say First Followers program where they're trying to give resources into the community to be able to help these women and help these men, empower these people coming back into society, reconnecting. But when you get back into society, ain't no jobs, ain't no housing, limited resources. You almost setting them up for failure to return back to the prison system. You know, I mean.
Touch on this real quick. Father Flager talked about the police saying they can't police the situation, but when the money come in, they talk about the $7,000 that it took to do.
And so what Father Flager was explaining was that that a lot of times we're talking that chiefs across the country are saying we can't police our way out of this situation. And so we apply for funding. And so as we apply for funding, the money comes in and we use it to hire more police instead of hiring more money for preventive measures.
Yes, sir.
It should be more money placed for preventive measures than policing.
Because Marlon Mitchell them on something.
And so they have a great program. But they need the resources.
Yes, sir.
Dante Lart's motives was pure, but he needed resources.
His hands was tied.
Because at the same time, you hired him because of his relationship. So he can't be a liar to the people that he represent was those young men. And so when he put all of his heart into it 24/7 and say, man, I'm here to help you, but then he run into a place where it's out of his control, then he looked bad to the folks that he said, I'm trying to help. So, I mean, that's the same way with a lot of resources that's out here. Make sure your motive's pure. And make sure, you know, I just ran through that today, you know, last night, and I talked to you about it. You know, so many folks, they word don't mean nothing.
Don't mean nothing.
Your word and your handshake don't mean nothing, man.
Mean nothing.
I mean, I'd rather you not tell me nothing.
Nothing.
To tell me you gonna do this here, or man, I got you, and all this other type of stuff. Just don't say nothing. You know, I'm almost like like Father Flager. If you ain't gonna be about your father's business, take the cross off the wall. Take the cross down off the church.
Take the cross down off the church.
He said, man, if you're not gonna be take care of your business, I got the words right here. I got the words right here.
You got the words?
I got the words right here. He said, if you're not gonna fight every day for dignity, for the rights of every day human beings, justice, equality, respect.
He talking about the preacher.
He said, loving and kindness. Take the cross off your building.
Take the cross off.
You're just a hypocrite.
You're just a hypocrite. And the Bible supports him, saying that we the salt of the earth. And if we don't have no salt, which is influence, then we good for nothing but to be cast down and trodden on men, by men.
You know, he further after that said he discussed with the church about the church situation to Dr. Taylor, close friend of his. And he said he got so frustrated about it. He's so upset about it. He been like I am, like you have, like A-Dub have, Martell have. We all been, you know, sitting in this meeting, listening to folks talk about where's our church folk at and all these other do-gooders, African-American problem, this and that and this and that. And he said, well, you know, where are they at? And he frustrated. He said, well, Dr. Taylor came back with him and said, I don't care what they do. I just wish they wouldn't do it in the name of Jesus.
That's what he said.
I just wish
don't do what you're gonna do.
Do what you're gonna do.
Don't be trying to fake us out like you riding with the Lord.
We called it in the hood.
False flagging.
We called it false flagging, and we called it perpetrating the fraud.
Perpetrating the fraud.
You know, that's what we called it in the hood.
I call it going to the airport with a bus ticket. That's what I call it. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do that. Don't do that, because one thing that people that have been mistreated, downtrodden, forgotten about, they all been lied to before.
Can I share this with you? So, and this is talking about trust. This is talking about, like you said, a good handshake. I had a young man that I was meeting with today, the same young man, it took 3 phone calls. Even though he came to me a couple of days ago and said he need help, it took us talking on the phone 3 times. Because every time we hung up on the phone, the devil was telling him, don't go. Don't go. You can keep doing the same thing you going. You don't need nothing new in your life. You don't need nothing. They ain't going to do you right. You can't trust Hub. Just beating his head up. And so he called me. And it's still, after him calling me and we having lunch, it took 3 more phone calls today for me to go get him. Because that doubt was eating him up. And he trusts me.
Yeah.
So what about the people that he don't trust?
Wow. Wow.
It took me 3 phone calls to encourage him and give him the word and give him truth and let him know, man, don't give me 9 reasons why you can't, give me 1 why you can't. You came to me and said you want to change in your life. Yeah. You came to me, and I still had to convince him that this change was going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they so afraid. They can't trust. The same man that shook your hand for a business deal and then had a secretary call you 3 days later and say they're going another direction. That's what they used to. These African-American males and white males and Hispanic males, they so used to, and females, they so used to people letting them down. Their mama done let them down.
That.
The daddy done let them down.
That.
The teacher done let them down. So now you try to, it's like the man that had 9 bad women. When the good one come along, he couldn't even recognize her.
Man, because can't see the forest for the tree.
And this is our youth. This is 21 to 35. These are our game changers.
Man, you know, and the reason why I say that and I focus in and we homing in where we say faith-based or the religious community because he said that the number 1 job.
Yeah, number 1 job.
The number 1 job for the religious community is to dictate the moral compass of America.
Yeah.
The moral compass the moral compass of the world.
Yeah, for the world. Yeah.
So
the whole atmosphere is supposed to set the atmosphere.
Set the atmosphere. What the moral compass look like.
Yeah. He said he don't blame Trump. He don't blame the drummer. He don't blame corporate America. He don't blame the educators. He blamed the faith base because God has called us to be a thermostat, but we study being a thermometer. I'm going to say that one more time. This is heavy now. You got to have some broad shoulder. God has called us to be the thermostat.
And what the thermostat do?
It goes in the environment and controls the temperature. The thermometer just tells the temperature. We got too many thermometers.
Go in the room, just get in where you fit in. Get in where you fit in.
If they don't like ice cream, you don't like it.
You can start acting like everybody else.
Going alone to get along.
And that was our T-shirt era, young men. You know, all the T-shirt, the sagging guy. Going along just to get along. I need to look like him. Everybody look the same. When the description of the thief, everybody look the same. They just do a roundup and take them all to jail because everybody look the same. Instead of you being the what you say, the thermostat.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Game changer.
Game changer.
Yes, sir.
I'm a thermostat.
Yes,
Walk
sir.
in the room,
Yes,
change
sir.
the game.
Yes, sir.
Sit up there. See, another thing, like we always say, I thank God that God blesses what I own because I could tell you, man, you're bogus for changing your opinion on me, man. Because it's more than just me. I got the community wide. I got vision for community in this here, man. And it behooves you to do me like that, bro. Because one thing that happened, all that stuff you seen coming up could come down because I got more than just me that I'm trying to bring in through this door. I ain't just trying to walk in the door by myself. I'm trying to walk in the door with a bunch of folk.
And you already got to put a team together.
I'm trying to walk in
and
the door.
And those teams got teams.
I'm trying to walk.
And those teams got teams.
I got a bunch of folk I'm trying to bring in the door.
Don't let him in the door. He got teams. He really trying to influence the community and do good.
You know, and a lot of us, we're afraid to want to do something like that. Fear just governs us, man. Or in doubt.
Yeah.
You know.
I tell you, it's a humbling thing to be in a situation where you're not in charge or you're not the leader. You just a part and you see so many different things that could be better. But when people are not receptive to you, it can get frustrating. But it has to humble you to where when you are put in a position, you'll be more receptive and understand if God gave me these people, then he gave them to me for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because we quick to say, oh, I know God gave you to me. Well, if he gave you to me, why are you not listening? And so that could be frustrating, as frustrating as it is for God give you a vision and then everything is going okay and then boom, somebody's word don't mean nothing.
You know, just in just the principles of Martin Luther King, you know, I was so humble when I went to D.C. and I was able to see his monument, you know, and to be able to go to Beale Street and to be able to go down in Memphis and to the La Romaine Hotel, and this was before they even turned into a historical spot. Miss Essie took me there, you know, and showed me, you know, that's where Martin Luther King, you know, got killed at, you know.
Who was Miss Essie?
Miss Essie was Truman Jackson's grandmother, you know, right there on the corner.
But what's she doing taking you? You ain't her son or her grandson.
Hey, look, hey,
what is she doing taking time out with you?
That's what they.
Who are you?
That's what a lot of them say. But I spent a lot of time with that old lady, and she was putting a lot of fat on my head, trying to build me up to be where I am and what I think and how I moved in this day.
The village.
So she was the village. Wasn't blood grandmama, but it was adopted grandmother, but she was like a blood grandmother. And so she wanted to instill those things so that I can have that inbred within in me. You know, thy word have I
hid in my heart that I may not sin against
Come on,
thee.
man. And so exactly when you say the responsibility, the moral compass, all those different things that we supposed to be out here fighting for right to this day, every day. Father Flager said, you know, he said when he wake up the next day, if God ain't quit,
he ain't quit.
He ain't quit. But we quit. We throwing in the towel.
Sean, honestly,
we throwing in the towel.
Sean, it gave me so much courage because I'm very outspoken, and nobody's gonna control me. Nobody. I'll die before I let you control me. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna control me. I want to be controlled by the Holy Spirit. And so I know I can rub people the way some people even wrote one of my bosses and told him I was an anti-Semitic. And so, you know, but I mean, it comes with the territory. But what this man done for me this last weekend, and the reason I want to go and visit his church regular, maybe once a quarter, I don't care if he's Catholic. I want to hear this man because he's speaking some stuff that I truly believe in and I done bought into. But he encouraged me, Sean, to be who I am, to don't worry about how people perceive or think that I am. I know I ain't got a racist bone in me. Every one of my brothers either interracial, married now, or have been. And so, but the devil have you thinking, oh, if you say that, they gonna think you racist, or if you do that, they not gonna want you on the team. Man, let me tell you something. When I check out of this life, I'm checking out by my own. My mama, my wife, all 9 of my kids could be holding my hand, crying, don't leave us. Sean, when I check out, I'm checking out by myself. And ain't nobody got a heaven or hell to put me in. So I might as well do the things that are pleasing to God's eyesight, no matter who don't care. Because if they watch long enough and they watch the pattern, they know that everything that I do, my heart's desire is to please God.
You know, one of the powerful scriptures and the words that he brought out was pick up your cross and follow me. You know, pick up your cross. You know, and so when we see, you know, we're hearing these sermons, these great sermons, you know, the lame man that's laying there and all his buddies lame and all those different things. And it's just nothing but words to us.
But they slick it up. The gate of beautiful. You know, they put that in there.
The gate
he laying at the gate called beautiful with an ugly problem. They fix it all up. And people, fall all out, and then go live reckless.
Come on, man. The lame man and everybody around you lame and all this other stuff. But, you know, one of the things is sacrifice. It's a sacrifice that you're willing to put up, man. And so when he talked about sacrifice, that's a daily walk. We used to sing a song, Daily Walk with Jesus. A daily walk with Jesus. Old saints used to sing that over the AOH. A daily walk with Jesus, by and by.
I didn't know Sherry Robinson there was over the AOH. I just learned that. I didn't know that. Frankie Bay was at AOH.
All them. You know, and so,
Ronnie Dogg was at AOH.
All them. And so as we were...
Eddie Dogg was at AOH.
And so when we talk about that, you know, and so when you said, you know, And I can envision that.
Yeah.
I can envision that,
Yeah.
you know, something that happened. I just had a buddy that called me and said, Sean, you know, I got surgery and tomorrow, and I want you to pray for me. You know, and then he said that, and then he texted me last night, said what room he was in, you know. And as I think about you saying your kids be holding your hand, your mama holding your hand, you know, your wife holding your hand, and those type of things, but you don't worry about it because you done did what you're supposed to do here on earth. So then when you get ready to go to what we all been praying about, talking about, you know, all this other stuff, and you get ready to go for judgment, then when God says, you know, let me see your hands.
Let me see your hands.
Let me see your hands.
Where the scars at?
See,
where the wounds at?
See, too many of us worried about a pedicure and a manicure.
Yeah. Spiritual pedicure.
Hands clean, keep lotion on our hands. You know, scared to shake somebody's hand. You know what? And it be killing me out of some of these guys that supposed to be, you know, my brother said you could tell a lot by a man handshake. You could tell a lot by, you know, whether if he firm shake, whether it's that little salt, whether it's little wet shake, you know. And man, don't shake my hand like that. If you really don't, see, I hate folks that's fake, you know, and you can tell a lot by that fakeness. My brother showed me that, you know, because that weak handshake. Man, you give a real man a handshake. And then I ran to another dude, and I could tell that he's intimidated. You know, he had his chick with him, and I just said something to both of them. You know, hey, how you doing? But I could see that's his control mechanism. And he kind of gave me a bump. He didn't know one of my little Thundercats was right there, you know, and didn't like that, you know what I'm saying? Don't hit Sean like that, you know, and, you know, it's always good. You never know who around. You never know who around. Stop doing folk wrong. Stop talking about folk.
That's what I'm working on. Keeping stuff out my mouth. You know, I denounced when the fire, somebody called me with some crazy. I said, man, I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah, man. You know,
hey, we gonna pray. Let's pray.
Folks throwing stuff, man, out there.
They didn't want to talk no more.
No research. Because
they didn't want to talk no more when I said let's pray.
They don't want to talk
bring that mess to me.
They don't want to talk no more because you ain't on the gossip bandwagon.
Yeah, and it's hard, Sean. Let me let the truth be told. Man, my number one thing, because I believe in speaking the truth. But Bishop Gwynn taught this message about 20 years ago in about 96. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary?
That's right.
You ask yourself those three questions.
Big shouts out to you, Bishop.
So just because you're keeping it straight 100, some things are better left not talked about. But I practice it. It's been my New Year's resolution, and I ain't say I did it all. But when they called me talking crazy about that church, I said, man, I ain't trying to hear that, man. Let's pray. Let's pray for the church. My homie, Daddy pastored that church for 40 years. Let's pray. And so, you know, we got to keep our mouth off each other.
Keep your mouth.
Yeah.
And then a lot, and too much of this, Hub, right in this community and across this great nation that I always call great no matter what we going through. Kick folks while they down. Something tragical doesn't happen, and here you go with some garbage. The only thing you could think is murk and mud to say, mud slanging. You know, folks done just lost a loved one. How they die? Don't never call me with that, because I'm never going to tell you that.
Never.
I don't care if I know the information. I ain't never telling you that. So don't even hit my phone with that. All I know is we need to love on somebody. That's all I know. Love one doesn't fail. We got to love on them.
We got to love on them.
That's all I know. We need to make the best celebration of life, and you can't contribute to that, get off my phone. That's how I play it, Hub.
Hey, Father Flager said he told Governor Pritzker that I'm not going to support
legalizing marijuana.
Recreational. I'm not going to support legalizing regular marijuana unless all the people who you locked up for marijuana, you let them out.
That makes sense.
Then, well, I think he said this part before then. He said in North Chicago, people using marijuana for recreation. In South Chicago, it's a job, it's commerce. Kids people are buying Pampers with the weed money they sell. And so you got to look at this thing for more than one way. And so he even went on a joke and said, he ain't against marijuana. He grew up in the 60s. So he was letting you know right now that back then he was chiefing. He might still be chiefing. I don't know. But I think it was very, very valiant of him to tell the governor, look, if you want to legalize marijuana, you need to let them people who you got locked up for just marijuana, you need to let them go.
We had a sermon, Pastor Johnson just preached a sermon about drawing the line in the sand, standing for something. You got to stand for something, man. Stop going with the wind. You know, every place you go with the wind.
Yes, sir.
You know,
yes,
if you get an opportunity to stand in front of them folks, say exactly what needs to be said.
Yes, sir.
You know, and so, you know what? I got something I want to hit before I end. Before I end here, let me hit this here. You know, Brother Hub, they asked me to read this here. Vasilia actually wants to get this here published.
Okay.
And so I want to cover this right here. Okay. And this is what I ran on some of the young folks at the thing that we went to, the Fresh Start program.
Yes, sir.
And I want to hit this here because I think it's relevant and I think it's good.
Okay.
And so this is what I talk to those young cats about when we dealing with the Fresh Start. Okay. Good evening, fellas. My name is Sean Williams. Many of y'all know me from the Whip Barbershop on 4th Street or from attending a funeral. See, I own a funeral home on Market Street, and I come from the same environment y'all come from. I grew up on Beach Street in Urbana and Hickory Street in Champaign with 22 brothers and sisters. I lost my father, 6 brothers, 1 sister, and my best friend. I've seen customers and friends go in and out of the penitentiary, and some went to an early grave. See, tonight I'm not going to give you no watered-down version, sugarcoat nothing, nor tell you what I've heard. Tonight I tell you what I've seen, and it's real. As a funeral home owner, I see how you young brothers and sisters are listening to rappers like Yo Gotti, Lil Durk, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, and all these other rappers that won't be at your funeral or court appearance. You can believe that. See, they got y'all falling in love with this nonsense that's destroying our lives in the community. They got y'all thinking that this is reality, and all they're living a total different lifestyle. They got bodyguards. What you got? Got y'all out here cutting up and clowning, shooting at each other and killing innocent people and destroying our community. See, the reality is when you get killed or kill somebody and I see you, you're dead. On trial begging for some mercy. You're gone because of some bull. You're shot all up. You've been to the coroner's offices or the morgue, and they done cut and gut you all up, remove your heart, remove your organs like your liver, your kidney, your heart, and your brain. We pick you up from that cold environment and place you on a cold embalming table and watch that blood run down that table. See, that's real stuff right there. Real is when I'm sitting across the table from your mother, your grandmother, and other family members trying to figure out how we're about to pay for an unexpected $10,000 funeral. Real is when I'm going through all your pictures on Facebook to see which one of them we're going to use on the front of a church program. Real is when all your family and friends see your lifeless body laying in that casket, unable to move. Real is when I did funerals for guys we all know like Rakim Vineyard. The only picture we see of his great smile is on the headstone at the cemetery. Real is when my buddy Rashidi got killed from a robbery gone bad. And his mother, 6 to 7 years later, still crying every day. Real is Zachary Gray, Alan Reddy, my high school classmate Ricky's son. Real is 6 foot 4 inch, 245 pound Marcus Boo Man Brown, a high school all-star athlete, shot in the back of the head for a dime bag of weed up in Rantoul. And at his funeral, the brothers that took him out for the greed helped us carry him into church for his final viewing. Real is Jeremy O'Neal, Damian Henderson, my little man Bam. Real is my good friend Snap, telling us, heroin got me trapped. 2 weeks later, dang, that poison killed my friend Snap. Real is Darian Carter, a.k.a. Buster the Hustler, who grew up in my shop with his brother Jay Sean, whose mother's eyes showed the true reflection of a grieving mother's love. Real is Jamil Hendricks, Terry Moore Jr., and at Terry's funeral, his twin daughter said, Sean, wake my daddy up. Real is Ashley Gibson, not being able to watch her kids graduate. Real is Erica Cox getting accidentally shot while walking to the store, minding her own business. Real is now, recently, David Sankey, my main man Gus, my good veteran Darren Mitchell. Real is when Buster killed G-Unit and got 60 years. I don't take no excitement in seeing you young people dying. What's wrong? You that happy with getting in the casket? It ain't like you trying on a pair of Jordans. Real is living the rest of your life in a jail cell the size of a small casket. You got to understand you matter. Like a brain surgeon or a celebrity, you have to say to yourself, I matter. And if it's not for you, do it for the people that really love you. The reality tonight, young brothers and sisters, I've seen way too many of us go to the early grave or doing so many years in prison that you have been forgotten about like being dead. I know a lot of y'all saying, it won't happen to me. Take this from me. Keep up the destructive lifestyle. That's what these other guys said. Your clique don't give a damn about you. Most of them won't donate to the fundraiser or show up to the funeral and will not put no money on your books. You forget that. Oh yeah, and at the funeral, some of your friends and families, they going to smoke some blunts, pour out some liquor, and eat that repast meal. And by the end of that week, they're going to try to holler at your girl and go back to business as usual. So brothers and sisters, I'm not here today to scare you, shame you, nor blow your high. I'm here to tell you what's real. And I'm so sick of this self-inflicted wounds that we had placed upon each other. See, brothers and sisters, I love y'all. Y'all remind me of some people I once knew. I know a lot of y'all been dealt a bad hand in life, and you're trying to figure it out. Well, the first steps start today. Let's change our community today. And that's what we got to start with today, because what the reality is what I see in the vision that I see. And so, Hub, what do you think about this report right here? It's almost, it's real.
When I was a recruiter, the first thing that they taught me in recruiter school is in order for you to be successful at convincing other people, you got to know your product. And they call it product knowledge. And the whole time that you were reading, that's your story. This ain't something you read out the Bible that you're trying to get people to believe. You've lived this. Man. And that's your product knowledge, man. And I'm going to say this, I said it last show and I'm getting goosebumps. And this is why I refuse to sell my soul. Because it's nothing in the, no better feeling in the world than being in your purpose and knowing your calling, what God called you to do, and you working.
You know, Brother Hub, as I think about this, and I get so teary-eyed, because I can revision back and I can see these young guys, man, and doing their funerals and their families and the loved ones and this and that. That's why they can't be business as usual, man. I mean, all y'all down here shaking and baking and playing and trying to get the funding and all this type of stuff. You dealing with real folks and real folks' lives, man, and you got to be able to make a difference. And if you ain't going to make a difference, get out the way and take your cross off the thing, man.
I learned this. I learned this. I learned this, Sean. I learned this. God spoke this to me. I used to get mad because I've been watching for 10 years all these not-for-profits and everybody using it as a hustle. But God chastised me. He said, you know what? Even if their hearts are not, because I deal with pure motives. Yeah. Even if their motives ain't pure, if they doing it as a come-up, as long as they helping kids, forget about their motives. As long as kids are being helped, so what? They sliding more than they shouldn't. Don't worry about that. As long as kids are getting helped, that's the key, man.
I got you,
that's man. That's the key.
I got you.
That's the key.
But you know what?
And we're going to keep doing what we're doing.
We're going to keep doing
Listen,
what we're doing.
God smiled on you. He stopped time for Martin Luther King to smile on you. You never, I ain't going to say never in your life, but you wasn't expecting that. No. God smiling on you, man.
And so I thank the Lord for you. Thank the Lord for this program. Thank you for everybody that tuned in to us today on our Facebook Live. You and the viewing audience, my brother Hub, all you guys right here, man. I really appreciate you, Ethan, Andrew, Channel 3, Jennifer Roscoe, all of the people that's supporting us. Man, I appreciate it. And I always say before we get off this program, we all can't do everything, but we all can do something. So let's do something to make our community and our world a better place. Thank you for watching another episode.
Let the truth be told. Master Mr. Dixon.